Let's roll it. It starts with the performance of the day, maybe the performance of the year from the Dallas Cowboys in Minnesota. Vikings come in after that huge win against Buffalo the week before. Micah Parsons not impressed.
Greedy, third down, first one of the game. Do simulate pressure. Micah Parsons one-on-one versus a very good tackle. If you hold the football against this pass rush, it is good night, Irene.
Meanwhile, Cowboys get it. And Rex, what did you tell me earlier Tony Pollard is right now?
He is the best that we saw out of Zeke about 20 years ago. Everything that Zeke was, that's who he is.
That high school Zeke for like 7
I don't
years.
care.
Tony Pollard,
he looks old.
Pollard had 189 yards from scrimmage. That was Zeke punching it in. And then
Rex.
Here's more Pollard.
But you got to love Dak on this play. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kick it out to Pollard. Everybody on the defense sinks in. Really good blocking by Schultz. Rex, you just made the sound effect. The speed with Pollard when the ball is in his hands.
He was really good, but RC, the best player on the field was Micah Parsons again.
Because we got to see Micah Parsons do what he does best, and that's seek and destroy when it comes to the quarterback.
13 seconds left in the half. How about Dak Prescott rolling and finding CeeDee Lamb?
This is as good of a throw as you can.
When they get OBJ, they're going to have two #1 wide receivers. He said, I got the 88 round here.
Dak had 22 of 25, 276, 0 picks. He was spectacular.
This is
Pollard was the man.
This is
what a dive.
I mean, you talk about like pre-snap awareness, communicating at the line of scrimmage, attacking a defense, and making a perfect throw. That's everything right there for Dallas's offense.
At that moment, CBS cut to a different game. Cowboys win huge. Jerry, let's talk.
Do you see this team as being one of the teams that's in it to contend for a championship, or how do you look at this team, what you've seen to this point?
A resounding yes. Yes, unequivocally yes. I think we've had adversity. We very easily could have some more adversity. But I sure do think that what I see out here right now is the team like that you could go get a Super Bowl with.
All right, we have played 10 weeks of this NFL season, Rex Ryan. What did you tell me you thought about the Cowboys yesterday?
Best performance in the entire NFL right here. I mean, for the whole season, best performance of the year by far.
And because it was on both sides of the ball.
Both sides of the ball, total domination. I mean, look, this Minnesota Viking offense, we thought that, look, they're almost impossible to stop. Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Thielen, Hawkinson, Kirk Cousins playing well, offensive line doing well. They got, was that the 85 Bears?
Yeah, they got mollywop.
Are you kidding me?
They got mollywop.
Pass rush. Gritty, it was absolutely scary, ferocious. And then I look on the other side of the ball. I mean, the offense dominated, the most dominant performance of the year.
But that's the other piece of it, too, though. You talked about it being a complete game when you ask Rex the question. This is who they have to be, right? Because they played so well on offense, the Minnesota Vikings couldn't stick to trying to run the football. The Minnesota Vikings had to pass. And once Hawkinson misses that ball in the end zone, that now turns into 3, I believe that changes the game. And let's also look at what Dan Quinn did defensively. Last week, we saw a lot of Micah Parsons off the ball, right? Playing middle linebacker along with Van Der Esch. This week, they went to more of a dime package where Jaron Kearse and Donovan Wilson were the guys in the box. And then you could allow Micah Parsons to rush. They played this game, and this game plan was tailor-made for the Minnesota Vikings.
Can I ask
and you know what else I forgot?
Before you ask,
You know what else I forgot?
Yeah.
They played this well against Minnesota last year defensively when Cooper Rush beat them.
Yeah.
They have a great plan for them.
Why do they do that defensively? Why are there games when Micah plays off the ball more, and then why are
There shouldn't be.
There shouldn't be. I thought last week, Anthony Barr wasn't available, and I thought last week the zone scheme and the run scheme that stretches by Aaron Jones was something they were nervous about, and they wanted Micah to be able to run it down. But when I said this Friday, some players, and this is not a knock on Micah Parsons' intelligence, some players, I don't want you to think. I heard you say that. I don't pay you to think.
Yeah.
If you watch Micah Parsons, they don't make him rush with contain last night. They're not telling him where he can be and where he can't be. They basically draw things away from him and give him one-on-ones with two-way goals. He's unstoppable like that.
And when they do that, I mean, no one knows defense better than you do. Last week they got run on, and the whole conversation here all week was, have we found the fatal flaw in the Dallas defense? And no one runs the ball better. I mean, not markedly better than Minnesota does, obviously, with Dalvin Cook. They They couldn't do anything yesterday against that
and it was a problem. Like, I went into the game thinking they are literally going to dehydrate Dalvin Cook. We're going to put the ball in his belly 30 times a game.
Sure.
And I don't know what the hell they're doing. Why didn't they do that?
Dalvin Cook averaged 6.5 yards a
game
run.
got away from them a little bit.
That's what I'm trying. It was the complimentary.
It's going to get away from you if you drop back and pass against this team.
But I'm saying, like, that was the point, though. This game ended up playing out in the way the Dallas Cowboys needed it to. They could still be run on, but you can't run the football and stick with it when you're getting mudded off defensively.
Can I go back and forth with the Dallas offense, because part of me sits there and says, man, they miss Amari Cooper. Dak with Amari Cooper is a different player. But I'm also the same person that says, like, they are absolutely by far their best when they have multiple tight ends on the field. And then they give Dak the control at the line of scrimmage. And you saw that yesterday. Like, I like the formation change that they do with their tight ends. So you see the inside tight end is off the ball and the outside tight end is on the ball. Naturally, it would be flipped. Inside on, outside off. We called that west. This is called east. And what it does is versus that 5-man front for Minnesota, it just creates better angles for those tight ends. When they put Dak under center and do like the different variants or various formations, this one Pollard, it's duo. He's got great vision and burst on the cut. I think this Dallas offense, like if you're asking me, are the Cowboys a championship team? Defensively, if they can get teams to pass the ball, yes. Offensively, I think like if they settle into putting tight ends on the field, using like the unique formations with the tight ends, and then giving Dak control at the line of scrimmage, I think it could be a championship complementary offense.
Dak Prescott's the most important player on the Dallas Cowboys offense.
But I think pre-snap just as much.
Tony Pollard is the best player on this offense. Tony Pollard, like going into weeks, Troy and I would always sit around and we'd talk, and we'd say, like, we played Adrian Peterson, I'd be like, hey, bro, like, how you going to tackle it? Right? If we played Randy Moss, hey, man, how you going to play too high? Tony Pollard would be the dude we had the conversation about. And the only one on the Dallas Cowboys team.
Lamb.
Hell yeah. CeeDee Lamb, I'm going to say, Ike, you go do what you got to do, and we're going to live with that. Tony Pollard would be the guy, okay, Troy, if we got cover 3, listen, you can hang closer to the line. You get that swing route. I got you over the top if they give anything post corner. He's the kind of guy you have to have conversations about, not only when you scheme this team, but based on the players and how you would approach to tackle him and cover him.
Absolutely. And to me, anytime we played against a guy like this, which rarely happened 30 years of coaching, all right, you get a guy with this kind of ability, you have to have one extra guy there.
Yeah.
We would say, so if you're playing the seam flat, say there's a guy covering the seam flat, I would steal half a man somewhere else. I would always drop somebody else.
What you're saying?
Yeah.
Always to Tony Pollard.
Your 3-receiver hook guy got to slide too.
At the risk of getting a little bit too advanced class for the defense, Tony Romo made a pretty good point yesterday, I thought, on the telecast. We keep talking about who should start. It's really not about who starts between Tony Pollard and Zeke. It's about who's there in the points that matter the most in the game. And Pollard was spectacular.
Tony, watch Get Up again?
But let's get fair enough. But let's make the most important point, which is Dak. Last week, there were questions, there were criticism.
They were fair.
That's what I'm saying. But let's give him the same credit where it is due. He played really, really well yesterday.
Absolutely, and it really goes down to the control at the line of scrimmage. When they give him the ability to get to the line of scrimmage, use time, the dummy cadence, so the defense is doing this, let's get to a really good play for us, not only out of a bad play, but a really good one. You see it here, 3rd and 6. He wants to get to an RPO because they're playing shell coverage. He's going to read the middle linebacker. Middle linebacker flows to the run. Great, rise up and throw the slant to CeeDee in the slot. They carry the slant. Now everything's vacated. 3rd and 6 becomes a run. It's not all that different than that triple option we saw from Philadelphia. 3rd and 7, or 2nd and 7, this is his feet, right? When you protect them, this is a really good job of him trusting his feet and his eyes, getting the ball all the way outside to Tony Pollard. I said this last week, like, when they live in that choice route area where there's gray, I don't think they have a guy who can do that just yet with CeeDee. But when there's definition and he knows kind of what's going on, that's when they play their best.
I think here's a stat that I think stands out. You have to be able to protect your quarterback, and you have to be able to rush the passer. Dallas is at plus 28. That leads the National Football League with that sack differential. Yeah. So the sacks that they're getting, and I'm surprised that this offensive line is able to protect the quarterback.
They're a good run blocking offensive line, a bad pass.
By the way, Tad,
when you look at the differential, they're number 1 in the league.
Tad, Tebow never had a game like that.
No,
bro. I just want you to know.
He was very upset at us last week. Tad is our friend. And look, say this too about Dak. We're in a league now where when you watch some quarterbacks play, you get sort of spoiled the way Josh Allen runs, the way Lamar Jackson runs, the way Justin Fields runs. Dak doesn't run like that, but he's an effective runner with the ball when he wants to be.
Absolutely. But I think the key point is this. Yesterday, they only asked him to play good quarterback.
Yeah.
Last week, they asked him to play great quarterback. And that's the difference when they get that run game going is he can play good and have moments of greatness. When the greatness is demanded, that's when it becomes a different conversation for their offense.
So yesterday, they looked like a Super Bowl team. I don't think that's an opinion. It's an obvious statement of fact. How about the team they played? The team that entered the day 8-1. The team that had just beaten Buffalo in their own building. Do you know that right this minute, the Minnesota Vikings, sitting at 8-2, have a negative point differential on the season? That means they have allowed more points than they've scored, despite winning 6 more games than they've lost. As you see on your screen, they're the first team ever to do that. Rex, what does that tell us about the Vikings?
It's absurd. That stat is absolutely crazy. But it shows you this is a team that, as I look at them, they win on decisions. Games are close. And we praise the heck out of it because, it's hard to win those type of games. But you ain't going to do it all the time. You got to knock people out. And we saw what happened to them yesterday. They got knocked out. But that's what I mean. This team is not that good. They don't look like they're elite. However, they're going to have a chance because they're going to win their division and at least host a playoff game.
Yeah.
So they're contenders, but are they real contenders? I don't think so.
Well, there's no other team in their division that has a winning record or even a 500 record. So, yes, they're clearly going to win the NFC North. But were they exposed yesterday, RC, I think is what people want to know.
Well, I think this brings you back to that Monday night football game against the Philadelphia Eagles. What do the Philadelphia Eagles have that the Dallas Cowboys have? They have a true number one corner in Darius Slay. We saw the same thing with Trayvon Diggs, who follows Justin Jefferson.
Dude.
They can both rush the passer. We saw them be able to rush the passer and get to Kirk Cousins. And on the other side of it, they both can run the football, right? Yep. And they have explosive offenses. They've lost to 2 of the better teams or 2 of the best teams in the NFC. The problem is you can't lose like that. Totally. Right? If you're a very good football team, you have to find a way to be competitive. You have to find a way to get the game close again. And that's the ugliness of this. And you say, okay, those are 2 teams you have to play to get to the Super Bowl.
Quick final word. Minnesota, yes or no as far as deep playoff run, still buying?
Good team. Good team when they're at their peak. They're not as good as the others. And they've got dumped twice. Both games, they had Justin Jefferson shut down.
They got dumped and drummed. You were right. You were right in both cases.
Drummed?
You combined it. Drumped. One word.